Hey, Fitzy here, back at it again with another one. This one's a little bit different. Vevor got a hold of me and sent me one of their 8 kilowatt diesel heaters and asked me to give it a try. Now, I got to thinking about it. I said, I like to put that in my camper, but I haven't got my camper ready yet. And I said to myself, where else can I use this? And I said, well, why don't I give it a try in my garage? Now, my garage got over 800 square feet of garage space here to heat, right? It's winter here now. It's, -1, 0 degrees all the time. We had a cold spell here the week. And I'm wondering, can I heat this garage with this little heater? We're going to find out. And for you guys looking for some metal fabrication, don't go no anywhere. I had to modify my garage door and do a bit of welding and cutting and grinding. So stick around. What I got here is Vevor's after sending me a few tools now, as you already know. They sent me the hoist and they sent me the jack, and I tried them out. I'm still using them, and they're wonderful little tools to have. They've been after me to try out one of these diesel heaters. I can tell you they're quite interesting. I've watched a lot of videos on them. And guys are heating everything from garages to tents to campers, and even some people are even heating their house with them. It's quite amazing little rigs, I can guarantee you that. Now, the plan I had for this was I got an old camper that I'm eventually going to be using later on, but right now, winter's here, and I got it full of stuff. I wanted to set this up for that. But what I'm going to do here, I think I'm going to try it out. I got a fair-sized garage here, and that is run by electric heaters. I'm going to see what this will do, if it'll heat my garage or not. The garage is 26 by 32 with 10-foot ceilings, so do the square footage on that. But my garage is well insulated, vapor barrier, the whole 9 yards, everything's sealed up. My doors don't leak that bad. It leaks a bit, but they don't leak that bad. The biggest issue I got is I don't want to go cutting holes in the walls to be running the exhaust out through, so I got to dream up some idea to run the exhaust. What it comes with, typical stuff. It comes with the diesel heater. It comes with an outlet vent with the attachment for the blower. This here is an inlet for the motor itself with an air filter and pipe. Comes with an exhaust and a number of different types of clamps and screws and bolts. But it's pretty simple. After watching a few videos, and it's just, put it together. The biggest thing is setting it up, finding out where you want to put it and how you want to set it up. I've had to research to find out different things about these here, to find out some issues that they have and whatnot with them. So I'm going to have a look at this now. I'm going to take it apart and inspect the fuel line. Some people have said the fuel lines have been kinked and stuff like that. I'm just going to have a quick look at it to make sure. You could do an upgrade on the fuel line. I'm not going to do nothing with this. I'm going to leave it like it is. So if there's any issues, I'll cross that. But I will be expecting, if there's a problem, the fuel line kinking or something like that, I already know about it. Let's have a look inside this now and see if there's any issues. And let's get started. I'm finding a place to put this in the garage. Really not much to them. The body comes off them, the top. All they talk about is this green fuel line. Apparently it's pretty thin and it got a tendency to kink, but no, I'm going to leave that alone. And as you can see, it's just a simple setup. Not really much to it. Fuel pump is on the right angle because that has to be on an angle. And that's clamped down. There's no kinks in the hose there. Physically, I don't see anything really wrong with it. Nothing is jumping out at me. So I'm going to go ahead now and put that back together. There's the specs on the heater itself. Some of these come with a Bluetooth function. This one here don't. This is just a standard version that's got all the options here, and you can work at it from here, or you got a remote here to turn it on and off and raise the temperature and lower the temperature. The instructions are pretty well straightforward. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to go ahead now and put all this together and figure out where I'm going to mount it to and get everything hooked up. So I'll just follow the instructions here, hook everything up as it says here. The biggest thing I found with some of these when I've after researching them is that they have the exhaust, and you can't have the exhaust coming out your intake. Now, it talks about this being the intake. This is the intake for the motor, and it really doesn't, this is just to fire the engine. This really don't matter. It's the one on the back here. This one here you got to be concerned with, keeping the fumes away from it. This one here, like some people will vent them outside or whatnot as well, or you keep them inside and exhaust outside. The biggest thing you got with just having this in your shop, and it's just going to circulate the air in your shop, so you may get a smell, or you know, if you got any dirty air like the problem I got, what I you know, is the garage is always dirty here, and so it's going to be sucking dirt through the machine. It'd be nice to have this plumbed outside, so I can rig it up outside and then just have it blowing fresh air inside from here. And that way I'll be taking fresh air from outside and it'll bring it inside and haven't got to worry about exhaust and stuff like that. But it says to keep the exhaust away from this section here as much as it can, because if what it'll do, it'll just start drawing. This is where your air comes from, comes in through here, and it'll blow out through here. It just heats it up. So any chemicals or anything that gets sucked in there are going to come out the other side. So just remember that. So I'm going to go ahead now and get this rigged up. So I got these clamps. So I went and drilled a hole here and clamped it on here. That would be the intake for the motor. And then this is the exhaust coming out here. One thing I found is over here on either side, they got these holes. And you can actually access in through here, like that, to get at the bolts that you're going at. In the case of this one here, for bolting and tightening up the bolts. And the same with the bottom one down here, and we're also on this side if you want to go this way as well. So it's pretty well straightforward. Now, one of the issues that you see with a lot of these here is like the way this comes off of this. I got that bent as tight as I possibly can. But when you stand this up now, okay, this does not sit flat at all. Okay, so now I got to raise that up. So I got to go find some 2x4s or something now that I can raise that up on, because that seems to be the going thing. Everybody just mounts it on 2x4s. I'll go get that figured out, get this mounted up high and get a couple of screws put in that, and then we'll move on from here. So I turned around and I went out back behind the garage, hunting through my wood pile, and I come across this 4x4 pressure treated stuff, so I figured I'd just cut off a couple pieces of that. You know, I never had much in the way of 2x4 out there. Mostly everything else I got is plank board, and I got a bit of this 4x4 stuff around, so that's the only reason why I picked that, is because that's what I had. You only need about 2 inches or so, because that's off the ground are now pretty good there. So, but I got that screwed on there, just a couple of wood screws screwed into that here, down into the wood. What I'm going to do, because this is a temporary setup I'm going to do here now, just to try this out. One thing I don't have in my garage is an access hole for, say, if I want to run an air hose or something out through the door. What I'm going to do here now is I'm going to build something that can be I can run an extension cord out through it. I can run an air hose out through it. So that way I haven't got to open the garage door in the wintertime to, you know, get stuff out. I don't have no power outlets on the outside of this garage. That was my mistake when I built it. But, you know, all I've ever done is open up the garage door and run things out of it. But if I had a little access panel here that I can actually run out through, that I can actually close off to keep it weather tight, but then I can rig it up so that this here machine will actually vent the exhaust out through it for now. I played around with, I wanted to have it so it was the centered outside in one of the panels. It wasn't all over the place. See, my door got these individual panels. I'm going to come out through the middle of this one here, and wherever it's to, I'm going to adjust the height of the heater to actually come out through that hole there, and I'll just run the exhaust out through here, and I'll put some aluminum tape on it to seal it off so it doesn't get sucked back in, and we'll go for that. So that's something simple and easy. I know you can buy these units and put there, but hey, I got all kinds of steel here. I'm gonna go and make one. So here's what I got: old scrap piece of steel, piece of exhaust pipe. I cut it this big so there's lots of ventilation around that. Also, my extension cord ends will fit through here as well, and of course my air hose will fit through there. And I got a whole bit now that I can cut that out with for that. And I got a larger one that I'm just going to cut a plating system out. I'm just going to take this over here now and cut out 2 plates, because I'm going to put one on the outside as well. And then what I'll do is I'll clamp them on, I'll drill the centers of them out with 2 smaller holes. And then I got enough pieces there to piece it together. I know you can buy these, you know, but I'm not going at that. I got all this here, and as of right now, it's not costing me a cent. So it's all just scrap I got kicking around. It's always fun building stuff anyway. So I'll get these cut out now. One there, and get that piece made. There you have 2 little plates that I drilled out. I used the big one to make it first, then I used the small one to make the inside one, and it seemed to fit it really well. And this pipe here, then I cut off a piece of exhaust pipe using the tape as a straight edge, just wrapped it around. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to lay that in there, and I'm going to weld that around on the inside here, weld it on the outside and dress it so it looks good. This one here will just slip on over from this side here. That's all that'll slip on. And I might just make a cap of some sort that I can cap over this here when I'm not using it or whatnot. I might put it on the inside, I might put it on the outside. Probably best put it on the outside. Usually there's a little flap door. Some fellas has flap doors and everything on it. I'm just trying to simplify this now, keep the weather out. So what I'm going to do now is when I drill a hole in the garage door, this is the size that I drilled in this here. I'm going to drill a bigger hole in the garage door so there's some air around the inside of this pipe. So if there's any heat coming from this, it doesn't contact with, that it doesn't heat up the styrofoam inside the doors, right? So I'm gonna go ahead now, get this welded up and get the hole drilled in the door. So you just see me mounting this in place. This is what I did. I welded it on the inside, and then I welded it on the outside, and I grinded it all flush and everything so it all looked good from the outside. Then I went over and I fitted on the door, and I slid it through and I centered it so it was in the center of the hole, and then I drilled one hole, hung it, and then I just drilled the other holes and put a couple of screws in it to hold it in place. Then I went outside and done the same thing with the outside. I marked it then right here. This is where the thickness of the actual garage door stops right here. I want to leave a little bit outside. I want to put a cap on this. I'm going to have a little cap that I can snap on over the top of it to keep the wind and everything out when I'm not using it and whatnot, keep the weather out of it. I could have put a flap door in here, or I could have put a flap door on the outside, but I think the wind will blow the flap open, and if I put the flap on the inside, this will all fill up with snow. So I want to have it so that it's easy to find, so if the snow is buried down, if I take the shovel and go down like this here in the snow, I'll actually find the front of it. So if I has to, like I'm looking for access to get the hose out of the garage in the wintertime. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this off right here, leave all this here. This much here will be sticking outside the building. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of this now, I'm going to cut it off, and I'm going to split it down and slide it over that, and make sure there's a nice snug fit, but it's snug enough that I can still take it off. And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to cap the end of that so it's just a plug on the end of it. It'd be nice if that was threaded or something and you could have slipped that down over it and had it so that it's screwed on. That would have been cool. If you had a piece of pipe that was that diameter with a screw-on end on it, would have been cool. But this is what I have, so I gotta make do what I got. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off and get this piece trimmed this up now so I can actually slide a piece down over there. So I cut off the piece, and the piece that I cut off, I split it open and I slid it over the pipe itself. Now I got a gap like this here. I cut a piece out of the other exhaust pipe, and I'm going to slide that on there and weld that on there. Not going to weld it on solid because I got to make sure, because I know if I start welding this here, it's going to weld solid to this here. I want to have this half loose going on, or snug, but not too tight. And of course I don't want to weld it on. That's all I'm going to do with that. You could probably find another piece of pipe that would slide on over it snugger, or you can bump up this here to slide on over it. I haven't got that tool. This is how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to weld that on there. I'm just going to take a flat piece of steel and weld on the outside of this here. Grind the edges, everything off, so that way it's got a cap on the end of it, and then I'm going to go from there. So first things first, let's get this welded on and get this so this slides back on over this again. Just went ahead and welded on a little piece of steel. I had these cut out, but they're too small. So what I'm going to do now is just going to chop this off around here now and clean it all up and get that welded on. So I got that all welded on, cleaned up. And you go up here now, and that fits on there. Okay, nice little snug fit. Now the thing with it is that I don't want to lose that, so I got to find a way now to keep that so when I take it off, that it's still with it. Okay. What I got it in my head now is I'll put a bit of chain in here and weld it on, because there's lots of room in here to put everything out through the hole for hoses and that, and have the chain bolt on in here. I picked up this little piece of chain I had hung on the wall there. I'll take 2 or 3 links to that now. I'll weld the link on the inside in here. And then I'll turn around and let it, so that way this will just hang. So you won't lose it, and just go up and then you just cap it back on again, right? So, let's get that made up. There it is. Just drill the hole and put a nut and bolt in it. There's the piece of chain. That'll bolt on there, so I'm going to bolt it to put it through the wall. And I just turn around, I bent one link, and I welded it on the inside. So all you got to do then is just fill that up there. Put that on like so. That way, so when you're outside and you drop it down, you won't lose it in the snowbank. That'll just hang down there. You can run your hose out through there, and then when you're finished, you can put it back. Right? 32 coats of hand rub lacquer. Whoa. Flow indicators. Yeah. And there you have it. I just put a bit of ultra copper around it to seal it up. There's a high heat silicone, so just in case anything I put on it might be inflammable. But that's the extent of it. Now you just take that off there, and you got access to that there. I put it on upside down, but that'll be fine. That'll be fine. Perfect. So here I got it all laid up on a few blocks. As you can see down there, it runs out through the hole that I put in the door. I got a battery over here laid down, and I got it hooked up to the positive and negative. It's just straightforward. It takes 12 volt power. I got the intake just hanging down here, and it's going to draw air in from there. And I got a full tank of fuel put in it. I'm going to show you this here. I filled up a little gas can, got $10 worth, and it's pretty well the full of what fills that up. That's the price of fuel here, so it's not cheap, right? Now I got the exhaust run just out through here, and I put some silver tape around it just to seal it off to keep the draft out. I don't know what I did, okay? I put it on, I hooked it up, I turned it on. I went through the instructions. They're not that good for explaining. I went online, and there's like 3 different controllers you can have. I'm trying to find out how to prime it. I tried it, it didn't work. I turned it on and just left it alone. As soon as I turned it on, it started to, you can see the blower was going, but it wasn't clicking like it is now. I left it alone while it was on and just tried to research some more information, and I noticed it started to speed up. The sound of it started getting louder and louder. I had the cover taken off it because I wanted to see the fuel being moved, and then it started to click. And it just primed itself. So, I don't know what to tell you. Look, I never primed it. I couldn't figure out the mode to prime it. I just turned it on. I turned it on, it came on, and started pumping, and there you go. It's blowing out an amazing heat. Okay, that's an amazing heat that's blowing out there. Just put that next to the microwave, you can see how much it's blowing. Right? But straightforward. I got it turned down there. Just a simple little dial. I can turn it up. It feels like I'm on an airplane. That's what it sounds like. But that's 10. Right? You can just turn it down then. And it will come down itself. Don't know how long the battery's going to last. I'm just going to leave it here now. I'm going to put it up a bit higher. Put it on about 8. And just leave it alone. See if it heats the shop. I got my electric heaters turned off in the shop. That one's turned off. And that one over there is turned off. And the only heat source I have in here now is this one here. Just sat here on the floor blowing out heat. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to see if it maintains the coolness in here. It's a cold day out. It is, I can find out the temperature for you, but if you look out the window there, it's a miserable old day out there. But that's it. So I'm going to let it run for a while and see what happens. So I've let this run for about an hour now, and I'm getting fumes here in the garage. I know for a fact I did spill some diesel fuel down around the back of this, and I'm thinking that maybe because the inlet's on the back, might be sucking fumes in from what I spilled, so I had to fix all that, change around the board and everything, set that up. And also, there's a new machine. Anything new usually is going to have an odor or smell to it when you first fire it up and use it for a bit. So I'll let it go through the motions. I'll let it shut down on its own. I'm here now, just clearing out the garage. Got the fan going. I've got the door open here, drawing some fresh air. And my whole plan is here. I want to drop the temperature in the garage. See if I can get it low enough that I can bring the heat back up in her with that. I'm here now, it's just slowly coming down. It's almost to 15 there now, and let it run for another little while. Let her cool off for a bit. Alright, this shows just a tad over 10 degrees here now. I got everything cooled off here now. The electric heaters are turned off. And I'm going to turn around now and turn that on and see if I can bring this up to close on 18 degrees again. All I'm going to do is take the remote. I forgot to change the language on it. This is all I did last time. I just turned it on. It's set on 10, and I'm just going to leave it alone and see what happens. It was on for a minute or two, probably 3 minutes, and then it started to click. So it was quite interesting. You hear it just kept picking up more speed and stuff like that. And it's on its high setting. I'm going to leave it on its high setting. I'm going to go in and grab a bite to eat, and I'm going to give it an hour and see what the temperature is like in here. There's no other heat on here but just this. I got 830 square feet here to heat up, and let's see if this little thing can actually heat this garage up. The temperature has raised up pretty close to 5 degrees. It's been about an hour and a half now. Seems to be heating the place up pretty good here. I'm after going down probably I'd say an eighth of a tank or so. I never had that wasn't fully full. This has been on bust now ever since, so. And it's holding its own here temperature wise. The battery, I've been checking that. That wasn't a fully charged battery to start with, and it was like 11.89 or something, and I think it's down to like 11.54 now, 11.54 volts in it. So it's didn't seem to take much for the amount of time I've been having it out here. I'm still getting an odor, but I know if it's diesel fuel or not. My smellers are not the best, but I'm still getting something, and I think it's the whole point of the stale air, because if you're in a place like this here that's fully insulated, vapor barrier, the whole 9 yards, you're just circulating the air in place and it will become foul air, blowing out foul air, right? And that's the reason why I feel that if it had a fresh air system in it, sucking in fresh air, it would probably a cleaner smell coming out of it, right? But that seems to be working good. There's no other heat on here now, and it's at 15 degrees. It's a comfortable working temperature. That's usually what I got it at here, right? But I'm pleased with that. I'm going to shut that down now for the night. The little 8 kilowatt heater seems to be working pretty good. I got other plans for it as well. I like to use it in a camper, probably out camping or something like that. It's great because it's mobile, and you can just hook it up to a 12-volt power source. I don't know if I'm going to fully hook it up here in the garage right now. I just wanted to get this thing up and running and give it a try and see what it was all about. It's a cool little unit. She's doing her shutdown now. I just turned it off with the remote. So you just let her go through the motions. Do a lot of research on them. Don't ever disconnect them from the battery when you turn them off. Leave them go. Let them do their thing, because this will keep going now for a little while. And it'll do a cool off session where it'll cool itself down. And it's a process that has to go through. You can actually clog these up if you just shut them off, right? So it's a good thing. But it's a dandy little heater. There'll be promo codes in the description below to get a percentage off if you want to order one of these. Just check in the description below, and all that information will be there. But it's a cool little heater, and for the money they're a cheap little heater. Seems to be working best kind. Anyway, I'm going to leave this one here. I hope the tips were good, and until next time.